With the Black Ops 6 beta now over and me having been away for pretty much the entire time that it was active, I only got to play it on the last day when I was back, meaning everybody that I was coming up against had better weapons than me, had their own custom loadouts unlocked. I had to use the default guns, so that's my excuse as to why it looks like I'm bad at the game. I know I'm really good. Deep down, I believe in myself, but for now, just believe my excuses. However, one thing that I always love looking for when it comes to multiplayer maps is zombies Easter eggs, because in every Tryout Call of Duty Zombies game in the past, you can find zombies Easter eggs hidden within multiplayer maps, and this year in Black Ops 6, it doesn't seem to be any different. But before we continue, imagine stepping into a realm of gods and warriors, where myth meets might, and the battlefields are filled with legendary champions straight out of Asgard. Sounds epic, right? Well, let me show you why this game is the must-play game you've been waiting for. Raid is running one of its biggest events to date, named the Asgard Divide. If, like me, you love Norse mythology and characters such as Loki, Thor, Freya, Odin, well, now is your best chance to get them in game and add them to your champion collection. My personal favourite character is Loki. I just think he looks epic. And if you want him for yourself, if you log into Raid for 7 days between now and October the 23rd, everyone can get the legendary champion Loki the Deceiver for free. Plus, you can then log in for an additional 7 days after that to earn even more rewards and access a second phase of rewards once the 14 days of login bonuses has been earned. And you can get the other 3 Norse mythology themed champions via in-game activities, so it's as simple as checking in game to see how you can collect Odin, Freya and Thor. And as a part of the Asgard Divide, players can also enter the Event Dungeon, which is a limited time dungeon that sees you facing off against enemies and a boss that is connected to the event. So for the first outing, you will have to test your wits and powers against the almighty Odin Fairfather. So, new players, if you click my link or scan the QR code up on screen, just by logging in for 7 days you can get a limited time champion who is Loki, absolutely free. You can also get amazing in-game loot with an epic boss killer, Grizzled Jarl, and when you reach level 25, you can also get your hands on Knight Errant, who is super strong support, along with much more. So again, scan the QR code up on screen or click my link in the description, and once you're in and crushing your enemies, come and find me under the name Black Ops Amazing, join my clan, and we'll be legends together. There we go, and thank you to Raid for sponsoring today's video. So as I was saying, even though in the beta we only had a couple of maps to choose from, not all of these 16 MP maps that are in the game were available for us to play in the beta, there were still plenty of Easter eggs for us to find. A lot of campaign related stuff, a lot of Warzone related stuff, but along with us having 2 zombie operators in multiplayer, Brutus and Klaus, their quotes alongside what you can find in the maps, I thought now that the beta is over would make for an interesting video. So on the final day of the beta, literally 2 hours before they shut it down, I spent that time scouring through all of the MP maps where I found what potentially could be an Easter egg relating to zombies. On the map Rewind, which if you don't know is the multiplayer version of Liberty Falls, they take place in the exact same location. The playable area in Rewind is literally a couple of meters away from the playable area in the zombies map Liberty Falls. You can't actually access this area in Liberty Falls, but the 2 maps are literally meters from one another. So not only does the Rewind MP map and the zombies map Liberty Falls take place within the same location, but also, the date we play in Rewind is the 5th of the 15th, 1991. Now, for Europeans, we do our date the other way around, so the 15th of May 1991, meaning because zombies and multiplayer take place within the same universe, since Liberty Falls happens in February of 1991, 3 months before Rewind, whatever happens at the end of Liberty Falls, one thing we do know is the town doesn't get totally destroyed, or at least this area just left of it 3 months later is in this state. Zombies and multiplayer take place in the same universe, hence why we see the same operator shared between the 2 modes. But also in this map, there are a few interestingly suspicious notes that you can find. Now, some of them seem pretty regular, such as this one saying meeting at 9 AM. There is another one in the laundry room which reads corporate visit at 2-1, make sure Brian is here. And then in the radio house on the computer you can see it says Sam 608-0329, emergency only. Under it there is another note that reads important event this week, bring in outside stands. But of course, if you know anything about the Liberty Falls storyline, Samantha is a massive part of this map, and in the intro cutscene, even though we don't see her physically, she is the one who at least has something to do with attacking Richtofen. When we see him in the elevator and that purple gas holds Richtofen up against the wall, causing him to disappear, the elevator door then opens, we see this device, and Samantha starts talking, seemingly from within it. Samantha, in one way, shape or form, was in Liberty Falls.
But Edward, I already am.
And we now have this multiplayer map Rewind, which takes place right next to Liberty Falls, where we see these notes, and one of them says the name Sam. Now, of course, it could be totally unrelated to zombies. It could be a different Sam or Samantha, it could be a boy, but you have to admit it's extremely suspicious how Treyarch would use the name Sam when they 100% knew we would make these links, because it's an obvious one. Samantha was in this area, and we see the name Sam in the MP map. Now, if this was related to Samantha, why would this even be here? Because she didn't work here as far as we know. Between what happened to her at the end of Cold War and now in Liberty Falls, I can't see a situation where Samantha's name would have had to have been written down on one of these notes. It seems like from all of the others we can see, they are messages to employees who worked around here, because you can find these notes scattered in different locations. We also see the name Brian mentioned. And the other question is, what are these numbers? 608-0329. Is it a telephone number? Is it a code to a safe? It does say emergency only. Well, we are in an emergency right now. If it is a telephone number, it's not one that I'm familiar with unless it's missing its area code. I haven't tried anything with it, but there must be something to this number. Otherwise, Treyarch wouldn't have included it. They simply could have just said on the note, Sam, something, emergency only. The numbers, unless they actually have a meaning, seem really random. So I think there's something to this. It's just debatable whether it's in relation to zombies or not. It could be, but at the same time, it easily could be just a multiplayer related Easter egg. That maybe when more maps get released, there could be other parts to it. And still on the topic of Liberty Falls, on one of the other multiplayer maps called Derelict, which also takes place in West Virginia, where Liberty Falls is located, around about the same time as Rewind, the 14th of May 1991. Well, because this map takes place in the same state, could there be a connection here as well? The one thing that we do know to do with Black Ops 6 Zombie storyline, also relating to Cold War, is in order to build the underground section of Liberty Falls, where we see this giant sphere, Richtofen had materials transported from one side of the country to another. In order to do that, he would have used many different methods of transportation, including trains. I tried looking around the map, seeing if there was any more clues that could relate to this, to show that possibly these trains were used by Richtofen. I couldn't really see any evidence. I mean, there's a lot of metal cladding here and stuff like that that would be used for construction, but as to whether it was for Richtofen, there's no indication of it. Since this video is just to do with zombies, all of the other Easter eggs in the MP maps were campaign and Warzone related. But since we have two operators we are very familiar with, Klaus and Brutus, some of the quotes that they come out with are well worth discussing. Starting off with Brutus, who says some of the most interesting stuff. Take a listen.
Court is in session. Crime never pays.
Stars have the hard point.
There's no escape, Billy. Our time is up, prisoner. Where are you going, Weasel?
Down.
Prisoner 872B identified.
Hard point identified.
I see a criminal.
Hard point is active.
Another soul gone. Last mistake, prisoner. Securing the prison.
So Brutus comes out with quotes like, "There's no escaping me." He also says, "Where are you going, Weasel? Prisoner 872B identified. There's no escaping, Billy." As you can see, all of these quotes, or most of them, relate to Mob of the Dead and our mobsters. Billy Handsome, Sal DeLuca, Albert the Weasel Arlington, and Michael Finn O'Leary. So when Brutus says there's no escaping Billy, he's talking about Billy Handsome, something he would have said to him when he was the warden of Mob of the Dead. When he says, "Where are you going, Weasel?" he's talking about Albert the Weasel Arlington. And when Brutus says prisoner 872B identified, that is the inmate number of the Weasel. So Brutus comes out with a lot of quotes relating to his time in Mob of the Dead, but why this fascinates me is because if you look at Brutus, his appearance is quite a bit different to the last time we saw him in Mob of the Dead. In fact, if his name wasn't Brutus, I wouldn't even think this was him. I would think it's a totally different character. His whole prison riot gear warden uniform is of the modern era, but his name and these quotes confirm that this is in fact Brutus from the original Mob of the Dead. He was there in the prison with the mobsters. How he's now ended up here in Black Ops 6's multiplayer, don't even ask me. The other zombies character that we have is Klaus. His quotes aren't anywhere near as interesting, but because he's voiced by Nolan North, who is Richtofen's voice actor, I'll let you take a listen anyway.
You need me to do something? How very original of you. Hello, I am Klaus. I am here to help you. Squish calls the human. Revenge is my middle name. Naughty, naughty. No life signs detected. If I was so capable, I would have enjoyed that.
So yeah, he doesn't say anything interesting there, but the fact that both of these characters are in multiplayer as operators is fascinating, because the last time we saw Brutus was in Mob, and at the end of, well, Black Ops 4 Zombies, when the multiverse was destroyed, he was clearly banished to the Dark Ether, hence why he's here, and the last time we saw Klaus was in Black Ops Cold War Zombies Mauer der Toten, where he sacrificed himself, where he picked up the ethereal bombs, walked into the Dark Ether, and that was the last time we saw him. We just assumed the bombs exploded, and Klaus was blown to bits. And clearly, judging by his appearance, that's exactly what happened, but he somehow managed to escape the Dark Ether and is now an operator in our multiplayer maps. But we can see the damage he took on his body, how half of his chassis is exposed and is merged with what looks like human flesh. So yeah, there we go. All of the zombies Easter eggs that I found in the multiplayer beta. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.